anyone's listening to this beginning, if anyone can maybe help Roman's apartment complex get internet connection, like a stable one.
Yo, people are trying Netflix and chill, baby.
Yeah, dude, can the people that live with you like go to work or something? Even though you're working right now, or was working just a second ago.
No.
Oh,
Did I?
speaking of which, look how terrible this tie-dye shirt came out. This is actually, this is the same sweatshirt we bought to match for Halloween.
That's dope. I love it.
Well, Sam, nannies, and she brought the kids by, and I've never tie-dyed in my life, but we messed up, and like pretty much, long story short, like there was not enough ink because we did two shirts. My first shirt looks way better, but
Yeah.
this one there's like nothing. There's like just little leftovers of each color, so like it's pretty terrible. Let's just be honest. But it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty
Yeah.
cool. It looks like I got like in a paintball fight. Like someone shot me the paintball gun a couple times in different colors.
No, I love it. I love it.
Oh wait, no, my oh man, people are gonna be mad. They're gonna be like, why hasn't Antoine's scenery changed?
Yo, let me
All
grab
right,
some water real quick. I'll be right back.
all right, guys, I'll start it. What is going on, guys? This is the Gainz podcast, episode 46. I think 46 for sure. Episode 46, guys. We are coming at you live. Obviously, this is my new scenery. This is my new downtown apartment. I rented an apartment right next to Roman, and this is where I'm at right now. So instead of
Waving
me,
to Antoine.
yeah, like you see the window to my right, your right, my left. That's literally Roman's building next to me. Isn't that crazy, guys? We are coming at you.
I get the binoculars going.
But
Gainz Nation.
yeah, I introduced a little bit where I introduced episode 46. Roman,
Nice.
what are we talking about today, buddy?
We're talking about our experiences with dieting. Roman's lost almost 19 pounds on his current diet, and he's ready to become a fluffy Roman again.
Oh, listeners / viewers, did you guys notice anything? Roman looks like he's looking fresh to death over there. He looks like he cut some hairs, I think. And I need a haircut, but whatever.
So pumped that you noticed. So like worked up. She's like, whenever I come home from work, like when we're not immersed in global pandemic, she's like, "Did anybody notice I cut your hair?" I'm like, "No, nobody said anything. We just talked about like work stuff and non-work stuff." And she's like, "Damn it! Like, why doesn't anybody ever notice?" I'm like, "I don't know, babe. I noticed. I think it looks good." She's like, "Yeah, you noticed because I cut it. I cut your hair." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. That's all that really matters. I love it. You did a great job. Thanks, babe."
And this new episode is How to Become a Barber 101.
Yeah. First thing, grab the scissors. Second thing, cut the hair. Third thing, collect the money. Fourth thing, tell the client to get the hell out of here.
Hey, get the hell out of here. I need to feed the rats.
Feed the rats. $4,000.
Technology advances. So Roman, what do you want to so today we're talking about experiences with dieting. Roman, you're currently doing this. I'm currently not, but obviously we both have a pretty long information and knowledge about this topic. So currently, if you want to re-elaborate what you're doing currently, and then kind of want to set it off from there, and then we'll kind of go over like some topics with experiences with dieting, and then maybe some encounters that we'll see that other people will see, and some things like some adjustments / recommendations.
Yeah. So I just pretty much YOLO this diet, to be honest with you. But I use like a lot of like the different like tips, tools, and tricks, skills that I've learned over the years, which definitely like made it easier. I don't really say like I hit any roadblocks because I didn't really have like too much expectations. I'm not like prepping for a show. I just wanted to lose some body fat. in my opinion, I was gaining like a little bit more body fat than like what I wanted. I wasn't like seeing definition in muscles. I was just kind of getting fluffy. I was starting to get like a gut, some moobs. So I was like, oh, I'd like to tighten it up a little bit. So this was like right when COVID hit, was like around when I hit my peak, and that's like when I was like my strongest too. Like I was like ready to like really blast through some plateaus. So it's kind of a bummer that it hit when it hit, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. So we move on. So I think like sometime around April, I hit my high of 171 pounds. So I was like critiquing my physique, and I was like, yeah, like I'd like to lean out a little bit. Like it wouldn't like, I had planned at that point actually to do a mini cut. But I was like hearing all these things about like, yeah, from like an immunity standpoint or immune system like perspective, maybe not the best thing to be doing like some heavy like cutting. Just this is like more like narrative and like anecdotal information, but a lot of like, and you could, you know, please feel free to chime in, buddy. But a lot of like bodybuilders will claim that when they're dieting, they'll get sick, and they're so easy to get sick, where there's like their immunity is like bulletproof. So I'm like, you know, I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to get COVID and give it to anybody. So dieting is probably not like the best decision. So I was like, why don't I just like do a maintenance diet for a few months? Like, it'll be useful like information for me to learn like, you know, where my like my maintenance diet is, like all of these different things. Like I can still like perform like well, like doing my workouts. So I did a maintenance diet for I think May. I was like, yeah, that like worked okay. I did it for like most of June, and I was like, you know what, like YOLO, I'm gonna try dieting a little bit. Like I think my goal weight was to get down to like 155. I was like, I think I'll look like much better at 155. I want to see like what I look like, what like the past like, you know, year and a half, like almost 2 years, coming up on 2 years at the end of the month, end of this month, like what that looks like from like a muscle building perspective. Like what did I actually like put on? So sometime like end of June, early July, I just like committed to like cutting my calories a little bit, like 200-300 for my maintenance diet. So like very, 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 very low or very like slight deficit. So it was like, it was just coming off. I got down to like 160 or something like that, probably within like a month and a half. I wasn't tracking all that much. I didn't track at all like my calories or even like really my body weight all that much when I went for like a week trip home. But I was like pretty active in July, and when I came back, I had like I had stayed on track for the most part. So I was like, oh cool, like I didn't even like try to track, and everything was good, so that's good. I went the rest of July like tracking, everything was kind of coming down like how I wanted it to. August hit, and I was like, once again, I'm not going to track. I'll just like mostly do the diet that like my family does, because I was living with family for the month of August, just kind of like chillaxing with them. And I got down to like 155, and I was like, oh, you know what? I could probably lose like another like few pounds, and you know, at the end of September, I'll kind of like cut it. I like finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm pretty like satisfied with like what I got to. Like I've got some like nice ab definition. Like I think like the delts look pretty good when they're pumped up. It is definitely like, so anecdotally, it is like very hard to get a pump when you're in a caloric deficit, especially when you've like been in one for a while. Your like glycogen stores are likely to be low. So it's important. Like Eric Helms talks about this, and like Lane Norton talked about it a little bit with his like recent like dieting experience. But to have like periodic refeed days, like if I would have like planned it out better, like I would have absolutely done that just for better performance in the gym. But I also was like reasonable with myself. Once like we got back into the gym, I think in June, I wasn't saying like I'm gonna hit a PR tomorrow. I was just like so excited to be back in the gym. Like the first day I squatted like 135. So that was like with the program that like Antoine and I have been like working on and developing for you all. So I'd say like overall it's like gone really well. I went from 171 down to my low is 152. I'll probably hover around this weight for the next like week or two, and then the goal is to like carve myself back up and kind of do like a little bit of a peak week, a little bit, and then have Laura take some photos of me, and then like do some posts on my Instagram, hopefully the Gainz podcast Instagram too, just with like physique shots, and then kind of going over like what that shot is, like what it means, like what it's meant to highlight, and then potentially maybe go into like some of the history behind it. We'll see. It's going to be kind of like an evolving process, but you all will be able to see like what I've been working with the past couple of years if you're interested at all. So maybe I'll put like a disclaimer that you're going to get like mostly naked photos, except like I'm going to be covered up my junk. I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
Just do the emoji, a smiley face or something over it, and then just keep the rest. Yeah. Do something.
I'm not gonna be naked. Like I'm gonna be probably wearing like I don't know, like trunks or something like that. But I mean, it's gonna be like showing a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know. We haven't done it before, so I don't know how our followers are gonna react. But whatever. It's what I want to do. So I just put out some sort of disclaimer.
Yeah, just like make something, I don't know, make something where the first picture is like a disclaimer and then the rest are like swipe to see the rest. Swipe to see the rest, but you gotta pay $10.
So I've been talking a lot. So one thing that I wanted to talk with you about specifically is like what your diet fatigue look like, because I would say like for the most part it's been non-existent for me. I've pretty much eaten like exactly what I want, but like at the end of the day, if I had like, I was probably eating around like 2,200 to 2,400 calories if you like averaged it out on a daily basis. And like my step count's been pretty high. Like I go for a lot of long walks like before and after work. So like anywhere between like 10 to 15,000 plus steps a day. So like, decently high, which it was not at the start of that quarantine. What I have been getting is like I'd say like gastrointestinal distress and like mostly like some like abdominal stress around like the stomach sometimes like after I eat meals, and it didn't really seem to correlate to like a particular meal. I had a decent idea of like what might like prevent it, or like what kind of meals like I wouldn't get that, but it was like I couldn't track exactly what meals was causing it. So I wanted to see if you had like any type of experience like that, any type of like gastrointestinal like distress, not gas or anything, but kind of like stomach pains, like quite literal pains, like from your stomach. I want to see if you had any type of experiences like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys probably know me or like watched the first episode. I did compete like in bodybuilding twice, only in 2016. So, it's been, like I said, time flies. So it's already been 4 years. Obviously I'll step on the stage again. So, I do know a thing about like extreme dieting, I'd say, / like dieting, obviously, because I've been lifting my pretty much, my whole second part of my life. But yeah, so is it with the stomach pain and whatnot? Are you trying to intake a lot more fibrous foods because you're trying to fulfill like your
Not really.
Yeah, because like that's the only time like I really experienced it is when I was like, I'd have like literally, I'm not even joking, like, like months out, 2 months out of the show, I'd have a whole, like for dinner when I got home from work would be a whole spaghetti squash, like, and we're talking like, the size of almost a football, like a whole one of those mixed in with like a stir fry with like Brussels sprouts, peppers, spinach, kale. So I think that's like that's like the only time I felt like actual stomach pain, because I was just trying to push the limits of my fulfillment in my stomach. Where like, after I ate that big fibrous like vegetable meal, like my stomach would protrude too as well. You could like see it in my stomach slowly digesting. And then like, like if I worked out after work and like I hit all those vegetables after work, man, I'd be in the bed just sitting there, just like gassed out for like an hour, and then just so exhausted I'd fall right asleep. So I don't know.
That's interesting. No, thank you for sharing that.
It's not muscular, you don't think?
I don't think so because so the interesting thing is like I think my fiber has actually been like slightly down just because my overall like food intake has been like down. Um, which I think it is probably like a good idea to like keep your fiber at least like constant, if not increase it a little bit for like hunger. But that's always been like one thing that I've been pretty good with is like
Yeah.
staving off hunger. Like I can do it for like hours and hours and hours. And like anyone that's done it like consistently, that's done like IF, for example, like intermittent fasting, you learn to realize that like hunger does not mean like you need to put food in your system right away. It's just like a physiological symptom, like in relation to like different like hormonal balances. Like it's tied to like your like sleep wake cycle, like all these different things.
Yeah, and it also could be the foods you're eating. There's
Yeah,
research on like a bunch of, sugary refined foods that will, it will taste good at the time, but most of the time, like because, I always joke around because like me, I'm a cereal eater, but I only eat cereal at night. Like
yeah,
I don't eat it for breakfast. I don't know what it is, but I always start the day 80 to 90%, and then when I get to nighttime, it's like fudge, cereal, like stuff like that. So it's like
nice.
but like like I read something. You might follow him too. I think his name's like Dr. James something, but like he'll post like a picture and like post some like information and like usually post a source, but like like he was saying is like the refined foods can give hunger signals. It could,
Yeah,
it's not helping you like, with your actual hunger, it's not too good like of a carbohydrate source.
yeah,
So yeah, yes, I know about that, but like stuff like that can eat also like cause hunger foods when people are like, IIFYM if it fits your macros, and then they're eating refined or like pretty much processed foods throughout the day. So that's see, like for me, if I was dieting, I feel like I'd have more of the stomach issues. That's I never would see you have them because Roman's the type of guy like I mentioned before and joked around before, but like he's one of like the like natural, clean, the most natural eating person, either if it's clean or dirty, like clean or dirty meaning like good or bad, if whatever the normal like definition is of those. But he's never the type of guy that will like eat those refined foods. So like that's why I'm curious,
yeah.
Roman. Did you like eat like refined foods or like processed foods that you normally don't eat?
I'm not sure. So probably because my
Because when
family
you
is
went
like,
backpacking, didn't
yeah.
you go back? I mean, or was that when you were staying with
No,
your parents
it was
or your
when I was staying
family?
with, yeah,
Yeah.
it was mostly when I was staying with my family and like slightly when I got back. So I was thinking it might have been something to do with like the amount of dairy I was consuming because I was consuming a lot of dairy because, excuse me, sorry, Gainz podcasters. My family is mostly vegetarian, but they consume egg, dairy, they'll consume fish, just not like chicken, red meat, like stuff like that. That's like a no-no for them. So I mostly ate that diet. I think I had like red meat like once or twice. But so yeah, having a lot of like, they'll do like the soy burgers, they'll do like the veggie burgers, that kind of stuff. We did like tofu tempeh, like for like the protein source. So whenever I would do that, so that I could make sure that like my protein count was up, and I am not like obsessive about it, but I am like I do try to be cognizant or mindful of like the leucine content of like the material that I'm consuming. So if it's soy based protein, I know like okay, leucine content is like okay, it's like decent, and like for our listeners, like the reason why I think about like the leucine content because that is like one of the like the main amino acids that's contributing in the like the mTOR pathway. So it pretty much just signals like muscles to like repair themselves. That's why bodybuilders are concerned about it. So soy is decent. It's not great, but it's a decent vegetarian protein for that. So I would just have like a tall glass of milk, like 16 ounces of milk with that. And I might also have some cheese with it. So at first I was thinking like maybe it has to do with dairy, but then
That's
like I
such
would
a
go
weird
like,
combination.
yeah. It was,
I
man.
get it. Well, you have to fit your macros in, you fit your macros in, but
Yeah.
that is a weird combination of soy milk and
Yeah.
cheese.
Yeah. Oh no, it was dairy milk. It was dairy milk, and I'd have like dairy cheese, but then it'd be like tempeh and like
Uh,
veggies is what we'd have. So it could have been like the processed food. It could have been like higher sodium content foods that were creating like more like water retention. Um, it could have just been like hunger hormones. It could have just been like an intense hunger that was like causing these pains. But it was like it was frequent enough where like it caused me like to like take a step back and kind of like think about like what the heck is going on and try to like analyze and like learn from this experience, because I want to like talk to like you and like our listeners about it at some point, because I think it could be valuable. I don't think I put my finger on exactly what it is, so that kind of sucks, but hopefully
yeah,
it was. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, to bring it back to the focus of like the title of this and whatnot, like maybe that's an experience to note, to people dieting is, you know you might have trouble fitting macros in, or if you're eating something different, and you're already eating less of amount compared to your normal living, it's like, your body's gonna try to feed off everything. So maybe Roman did have like a certain like bounce back because he did that, but like, obviously like life is always changing, so you're not always going to be having your meals always by your side. You have to live life, you have to live a family, you have to do those things. So
Yeah, true.
yeah, so that's like one of like the biggest experiences for me too, is like when I dieted, I needed to eat foods that agreed with me and also like filled me up. So like I did joke around with like the IFYM earlier, but like, dieting, yeah, you have the days where you're gonna have to crave something. Go ahead and eat it in a controlled manner,
Yeah.
or use it for a refeed day, but don't utilize those calories throughout like your everyday your experience, unless you have that like, unless you have that like control, you have that like, that's stable in your life, in your mental game, that like if I eat like 2 cups of ice cream or a cup of ice cream before bed, and it's part of my macros, it's part of my calories. Everything else throughout the days, whole foods, natural, foods, but I just like to eat that before bed. That's fine as long as it's A, working, B, putting you towards the plan, and like three, like, like it's, you're motivated, you stay motivated. That's like the
Yeah.
one thing with me with like bodybuilding. Like, see, the thing is with me, with like the experience I have with dieting is like I'm not gonna make it look easy, because it's not. Like, there's points like with bodybuilding conditioning, like, your ankles can break at any time because how lean you are. Like your joints don't feel good. Like I was going to bed probably sometimes earlier than Roman, and Roman's like an early riser, and I wouldn't be able to sleep through the whole night. But like,
Yeah.
if you're what the heck was I trying to say? But like, you have to like dial in everything. And what I with like someone like me with bodybuilding, like, I don't know, it just, it's like all mental game, like Roman was saying, like with like the hunger signals. And I think that's like the best part of like me myself. Like, I know for a fact that like if I want to hit like a pound or percentage of body fat, like I'll do whatever it takes, man. Like, like, yes, at times like I was too strict, and like I've learned from those mistakes in 2016, but those are the mistakes that I've made to show like how focused I am. That, I'm reading Kobe's book, the Mamba Mentality. Like,
Yeah.
I just picked it up. It's like when you know you're doing something right, and Roman's like this too, because Roman has like a bad allergy with peanuts, like. And like, he's got to eat like his life isn't easy with cooking. Like, he has to cook like every single meal most of the time. But like, once you're dialed in, I think like honestly, it's not too hard. And like you experience it too. You're just like, man, I can keep going, but like, I want to eat more. I feel like I look good enough. So why not just pick it back up to maintenance or gain a few pounds because I'm gonna gain muscle no matter what. It's like, people like think dieting is for like, you're gonna look good. You're gonna look good. But like I sent Roman and one of our friends a picture of me in 2016 at a hotel, and that was a Vasky. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a supplement that's supposed to like help you get vascular. Probably didn't help whatsoever, by the way, because I already had my conditioning and I just needed food probably and salt. But um, like the point of dieting too, like also from the experience of like bodybuilding and competing, make sure like you're doing it for like a health purpose, body like to feel better purpose, to eventually build muscle again purpose. Like those are more healthier ones. Because see the thing is like yeah, like I sent Roman and our friend Billy a picture of me in 2016. Yeah, I want to look like that again. And yeah, like that was a hell of a time, but like you can't look like that. You can't be like that for a long time. Like there's more negatives of like eating that little, doing so much cardio slash like, being that low body fat percentage. So like that's also too what I want to bring back. I know I'm, talking a lot right now, but like you just gotta you can't like don't ever shoot yourself in the foot and diet to look good for that one photo shoot, that you only look good for that one photo shoot and then you're going to regret the rest of the time of gaining weight. Like that's not the experience of dieting. And I've failed to realize that too. Like, I'm 195 or 195 or 196 as of today, but it's still hard for me to say I want to get up to 200. Like, I'm gonna look less better. I'm gonna look less defined. So that's Roman. I hopefully like if you I don't know if you have any questions or if you want to add on to that, but that's like another big point.
No, it's really good. I really like that you emphasize like doing it for like a health perspective, and even like so that last part, like that's like a certain paradigm or that's like a certain mindset that you have. Like I'm not gonna look good at 200, but like what if you love the way you look at 200, right? Like what if Sam's like, geez, like Antoine, like your shoulders are freaking blowing up, like that's insane.
She misses Fat Twan all the time.
Yeah, so
it's literally all I hear is like, why can't you just eat more to get bigger? Yeah.
Yeah. So like lean isn't always better. So I should be like clear on like what my objectives were. Like my objectives were to like lean out. I thought that I was getting to a point where I had excessive body fat. So I said, let's do a diet for the intention of getting back to gaining muscle. Like I can't wait to be in a caloric surplus. Man, I freaking like, especially growing up, man, like I'll just say like my family was poor. Like we had some hard times. Like we didn't always like we didn't always like have food to put on the table. Right. So like and like my mother was like a busy lady and all that stuff too. So we did the best we could is what I'm trying to say. Right. So like growing up in that type of a household, that kind of a culture, like food is kind of like whatever. Like when we can get it, we'll get it. You kind of learn to like I hear people say like I don't like to go to bed hungry. It's like that's what I did. Like that's how I grew up. Like I grew up like, all right, it's bedtime. Like didn't have dinner, had a small dinner, like whatever it was. Like when we got older, it got much better. Like when there was like two people, two adults, like income earners, got much better. But like the point being is that I wanted to lose weight so I could look better. Like that was an objective. Like I will be like very like outward about that. I think at like various times in my life, I would like earlier on in my life, I'd probably like be ashamed to say that because it's like very like egocentric. But I think that's okay to be like outward about it. And like I would say even if like you wanted to lose weight for a photo shoot, like totally fine. Like if that's what you want to do, and like leaning out a little bit would like is like part of your desire. But you also have to ask like why. Like I didn't want to be lean just for the sake of being lean. Like I wanted to be lean to see like what this process like looks like.
What you built.
Yeah, exactly.
What you're building.
I'm being like much more like scientifically rigorous, if you will. I was like tracking my calories loosely, but I was tracking my calories. Wasn't really tracking like my macros. Like, of course I am, but like I wasn't saying like 150p, like 300c, 50 fat. Like I was very flexible with like what I could take in. It was just based off of like what I was like whatever I wanted to eat. Like the other night I had brownies and ice cream. I just had like a small piece of brownie and I had a scoop of ice cream, like portion control. So that's how I was able to still fit that in to my diet, like still fit that in with like my macros and still have like a baller like dessert.
Baller.
So yeah, so from like a health perspective, like because remember our minds can trick themselves too. So like, if you're saying like, oh, just like another couple of pounds, just like another couple of pounds, and like your doctor's advising you like you are like in a danger zone, then like it's important to like reframe and say like I might need help, because there are definitely going to be people that like are in that zone. I'd hope if like I ever get to that point that like I could say that like if I got like bulimic or something along those lines or like anorexic, I had like a set amount of weight that I figured, hey, I think I'll like this. I had a set period of time. I said like 2 to 3 months. I'm coming up on that 3-month time frame. I like the way things shaped up. I'm like really like proud of like what I've been able to accomplish, what I'm learning, all that. But I'm also eager to like take that next step and like keep going, keep on gaining. Strength is like a goal of mine, so it's hard to like even maintain your strength, let alone like build on it when you're in like a habitual caloric deficit. It might be possible. It wasn't possible for me. I was not able to gain strength upon like some recent PRs that I have, so I'm getting back to it. But I'm also like I'm not like let down by it at all. I'm just like going along for the ride. I'm like respecting like what my body can like put out on a certain day. Like I think the best I hit for bench like when I was home in Massachusetts was like 220 by 2. I was like, hey, you know what? Like that's pretty solid. I'll take that. My like previous cycles like PR was 225 by 5. So I'm like, all right, I'll just build back up to that. I'm like nowhere near where my squats were. Deadlift is like super weak right now. But that's just how it goes. So I was willing to accept that. I knew that was like part of like the quote unquote like risks. I'm trying to like train smart because I'm in a deficit, so it means it's going to take longer to recover. I had like a hard-ish bench session yesterday, and like the chest is like so sore today. I went like on a backpacking trip this weekend, and my hamstrings are sore. Like, what the heck? Why the heck are my hamstrings sore from hiking? So, yeah, just little things like that. I think, like you said, I really like the perspective of keeping it framed in like health. And if you can like come up with some reasons that seem to be like healthy reasons, and you're not like doing it for like going back to our goal setting podcast, doing it to like get back at somebody, like you're doing it for you and like the purpose because you believe that like dieting is going to like help you get into like a healthier, like let's say healthier body weight, like less body fat, whatever it might be, then I'd say yeah, go for it.
Sweet, man. Thank you, man, for all that. But man, that's it, man. We're gonna end it here, folks. We episode 46 in the books as of now. And, we're definitely excited, for more content coming, as well as, man, we are everywhere now. You know, Anywhere you could think of, just type in Gainz Podcast. I don't even care what you're on. Type it on YouTube, Amazon, Audible, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, the podcast app. I don't care where you're at. You type that in, I bet you'll find us. And if you don't, let me know. You could always reach us at Antoine Coletta, Roman Long 1031 on Instagram. And we'll see you on that next episode. Peace.